Hey everyone. Hopefully we're all able to get a good night's sleep after that dismal performance from our Minnesota Vikings team last night or yesterday afternoon. I ran across an interesting quote last night while scrolling the internet, and it was from Adam Thielen. And the quote says, uh, "At some point, you're not going to be able to run the ball for 180 yards, even with the best running back in the league or in the NFL. That's when you have to be able to throw the ball, and you have to be able to hit the deep balls." And I 1000% agree with Adam Thielen, not just because Adam Thielen's my favorite Viking at the moment, but we have to be able to adjust. And, it is true. We have one of the best running backs in the league this year. On paper, or not even on paper, in the stats, he's one of the leaders in the rushing department. And a lot of people, a lot of the articles that I've read about this quote are, "Oh, Adam Thielen is throwing Kirk Cousins under the bus. Oh, Adam Thielen is throwing shade." And while, you're only as good as your quarterback, I don't personally think he's throwing shade at Kirk Cousins directly. I think that some of it has to go back to the play calling. And the play calling was dismal yesterday. It was terrible. When Tracy Wolfson comes out at halftime and she said, Mike Zimmer isn't discouraged by the lack of production from the running game. What the hell do you mean you're not discouraged? 20 yards at halftime and you end up with 40 for the game? At some point you got to say, "Hey, it's not working. Let's change up the game plan." And I think a lot of that needs to start now. And I do know that our team wants to be a run first option, but or a run first team, but when it's not working, you got to be able to move on and change up the game plan. But at the end of the day, I just hope we have a better performance coming out this week, as the Giants, as we travel to New York to play the New York Giants and our old offensive coordinator from 2017, Pat Shermer. And on a side note, speaking of Pat Shermer, uh, how do we say this? We as Viking fans need to put the 2017 season to rest. We need to let Case Keenum go. He's gone. He's not coming back. And well, I will never forget the Minnesota Miracle. I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. I remember who I was with, watching the game at a wing place here in Texas, and how defeated I was right before that game, thinking, we were so close to making it to the NFC Championship, and we fell a little short. And I remember everything after that, losing my voice and all, etc. Case Keenum is gone. There's a reason Case Keenum has had one good season in his 9, 10 year career. There's a reason known as a journeyman. And there's a reason why before the season he was traded from Denver to Washington. And finally, there's a reason why he was benched yesterday. He's a journeyman quarterback at best, with one good season in his career. And we need a little refresher. The season that, we all love and we all go back and wish we could be the Vikings of 2017. We started 2-2 that year. We beat the New Orleans Saints with Adrian Peterson watching Dalvin Cook go off across the sideline. We lost to the second game is when Case Keenum started. Announcement came in saying, "Oh, Sam Bradford won't be in for this next game." Um, and that next game, Case Keenum came out and he was embarrassing. We got blown out. I don't even remember the score of that game. I could probably look it up. Uh, let's see. I have it right here. Pittsburgh Steelers 26, Vikings 9. We ended up bouncing back against the Bucks, and then game 4 we ended up losing to the Detroit Lions 14-7. That's the game where Dalvin Cook got injured, and from there on we went. We only lost one more game the rest of the season. Ended up 13-3, as you could say the rest is history. But that was 2017. We're not going back to that. And Case Keenum was good for that year, and I will always be thankful for that. But it's time to move on. And not saying that we're gonna end up with the same result after starting 2-2 that year, but boy, can we dream and hope for a better performance moving forward than we saw yesterday from our team.